Pankinen from Pankinen Financial Group. Planning for your financial future means navigating challenges like market volatility, inflation, and retirement income. Pankinen Financial Perspective is here to help by addressing common financial concerns, sharing valuable strategies, and exploring ways you can work toward your financial goals. Now let's get started with Pankinen Financial Perspective.
Hello and welcome to Pankinen Financial Perspective. My name is Ashton Pankinen from Pankinen Financial Group. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 952-873-2703 or visit us online at pankininfinancial.com. That's PANKONIN financial.com. And while at my website, click on the radio page to check out past shows and to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Also, while at my page, click the link at the top to get the latest retirement guide. Today, we're talking about something brand new and, depending on your family situation, potentially very significant. We're talking about Trump accounts. They're federally tax-advantaged savings vehicle for children created under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which President Trump signed into law in July of 2025. According to these accounts, they're going to be open for funding July 4th of this year, and there's already been a remarkable amount of interest from families across the country. For the first part of today's conversation, we'll be drawing on a Kiplinger article titled, "The GOP Trump Accounts for Savings. Your Funding Starts Soon." And later in the show, we'll be getting some context from an IRS source covering the One Big Beautiful Bill provisions, which includes official figures on enrollment and pilot contributions. And as usual, I'm very glad to bring in my co-host, Tony Shore.
All right. Hey, thanks, Ashton. Going to be a great show today. A lot of people, I think there's some confusion around these accounts, these new accounts, and are they advantageous? There's some great things about them. You just need to know the rules and how to go about it. And I know you've got all the information for us. This is great. I had 3 kids and you have kids, and people are always wondering, do I create a 529 for my kids? How do I get them to start saving for their first house or to pay off college money or to start saving for retirement?
Yes.
Because take advantage of compounding interest. I wish my parents had done that for me.
Yeah, for sure.
I really, really do. Hindsight's always 20/20, but let's fix the mistakes our grandparents or parents made. And I love my parents; they're great people. But when it came to money, that was a weak area.
Yeah.
They didn't talk to anyone about money. I never learned about money or finance from them. And I just think of where I'd be today if they had done that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, financial intelligence just isn't taught like it should be.
No. And if you educate your kids, they can help keep you on track. I mean,
Mom, that's for my Roth IRA.
that's what you want to hear from
exactly.
your kids.
Yeah, for sure.
Keeping you on track. But maybe it's for my mom. That's for my Trump account.
Exactly.
This will be good. How have you been, Ashton? You've been busy?
Yeah, I've been good. We celebrated Father's Day this last weekend. Had a good time. We went down to Lanesboro area and spent some time with my sister and her family, and then my parents came down too. With
that's
our family.
Your dad was down there too. Because I went through your hometown and I something was off. I drove through Windham on my way to see my parents, and I'm like, something doesn't feel right. All the Pankinins had left town for the weekend. That's the problem. Yeah. That's the problem.
Yeah, and so we had a good time, and then we got home Sunday and opened the kids' gifts for me for Father's Day.
Oh, was that interesting? Why do you laugh?
Oh, it was pretty good. My son ended up getting me a Lamborghini Lego set.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was cool, but I think it was really more for him. He put together both Lego sets. There was a blue car and an orange car, and I like the burnt orange car, and so he said that's why he got it for me. And then he put together his car that day, and then the next day before I got home from work, he had my car put together as well.
He opened your yeah. I love it when your kid gets you a gift that's really for them. Look, Dad, I got you a toy. It's like I got you Legos. Wait, you're the one that loves the Legos.
And then Ivy ended up getting me Sour Patch Kids because that's my favorite, she says. And as soon as the bag's open, guess who's looking for that? And
oh no, your kids got you gifts that were really for them.
And then my youngest actually did pretty well. She got me a grill cleaner, like a brush grill cleaner.
Oh, sure.
And I needed that. My other one was past.
How old's your youngest?
She's 3.
So your wife,
yeah, my wife helped her out a little bit.
I don't think the 3-year-old said, "Let's get Dad a grill cleaner."
She's like, instead of doing my Trump account contributions, let's get Dad a grill cleaner. But then she also picked out a little seasoning, and that she picked out on her own, and she was pretty proud of that, like a meat seasoning or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's neat.
So, yeah, it was good. How about you, Tony? You sound like you went back home. You said too.
Yeah. I got my dad a funny shirt that has Homer Simpson on it that says something about world's most rad dad or something. I mean, and he's about 85 with Parkinson's, so he's going to be wearing that Homer Simpson shirt, holding like the grill, stuff, tools, and
I like it.
It's good.
That's good.
That was fun and good to see them. So yep.
Good.
Well, hey, the Trump accounts. I mean, when I first heard about these, I wasn't sure what to make of it. I mean, the name throws people off, whether you love him or hate him. You got to set the name aside, because the more I've read about it and the underlying structure, the more interesting it is. So let's start at the beginning. Tell us what a Trump account is and some more about that.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. A Trump account is also called a 530A account after the section of tax code that created it. It's a tax-deferred savings account designed specifically for children under age 18. The IRS classifies it as a type of traditional IRA, but it operates under its own distinct rules during the child's first 18 years. So the idea behind it isn't entirely new. Democrats have proposed similar concepts before, most notably Senator Cory Booker's baby bonds proposal, which is also featured with $1,000 seed money for newborns. But that proposal was government funded and means tested, and it never gained bipartisan support needed to become law. The Trump accounts take a different approach. It's a contributor funded, broadly accessible regardless of income, and built around market participation. The stated goal, as supporters have framed it, is producing the next generation of investors. And so here's the basic structure. A parent or legal guardian or other authorized adult opens and manages the account on the child's behalf. The child is the account owner, but they have no access to the funds until they turn 18. And during that entire window from birth through December 31st of the year before the child turns 18, money goes in, it grows tax deferred, and it stays put.
So what exactly does tax deferred mean in this context?
Yeah, it means the account grows without being taxed year to year, so which is a meaningful advantage over standard taxable account, but it's not tax-free the same way a Roth IRA is. Taxes do come due when the distributions are taken, similar to how a traditional IRA works. There's Roth conversion opportunity after the age of 18, and that changes the picture significantly, and we'll get into that later. Another structural note here is during the first 18 years, investments are restricted to broad U.S. equity index funds, or ETFs, with an expense ratio of 0.10 or less. So again, you can't have any sector funds, no leverage funds, no bonds. The accounts are designed for long-term growth, and honestly, low-cost index investing has a strong record over those long time horizons. And so there's restrictions kind of help keep that account focused.
Yeah, and that structure makes sense to me. I understand these accounts have already attracted a lot of attention even before the official July 4th opening.
Yeah, significant is an understatement, Tony. According to an IRS article, the One Big Beautiful Bill provisions, 4 million children have already been enrolled, and 1 million of those families have filed to claim the $1,000 federal pilot contribution. So 4 million children in a matter of months isn't just a niche concept. It's a mainstream financial topic that families are actively asking about. Accounts are actually being held at BNY, which Treasury designated as the financial agent for this program, with Robinhood serving as the brokerage. And so the Trump Accounts app, built by the two together, is available now at Apple Store or Google Play. And that's probably the easiest way to get enrolled is to log into that app, the Trump Accounts app. And then after that July 4th launch date, it was intentional because of the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah. You can actually sign up and enroll, and then it kicks in on July 4th. But you can pre-sign up and enroll, and that's a good idea. Let's talk about, though, who qualifies. Who can open one of these, and are there any restrictions on eligibility?
Yeah, eligibility is broad, which is one of the appealing features of this vehicle. The child must be under 18 and a U.S. citizen and have a Social Security number. At least one parent must also have a valid Social Security number or individual taxpayer identification number. And that's it. There's no income limit, no means test, no phase out like you see with a Roth IRA contribution. If your child meets those basic criteria, they are eligible. And as for who can actually open the account, the IRS lays that out specific priority for authorized individuals. Legal guardian comes first, then a parent, and then adult sibling, and then a grandparent. And one of those authorized individuals must open the account on or before December 31st of the year in which the child turns 17. And only one Trump account is allowed per child at any given time, though rollovers to a new account at a different institution are permitted.
Okay, now let's get into why these accounts exist and why they're popular, or why people want to know about them. That $1,000 pilot contribution provided by the government are what people are hearing about first. Walk us through that, particularly who gets it and how.
Yeah, we can do that. And unfortunately, none of my kids qualify for this.
Mine either. Mine are all the way past this point.
Yeah. So children born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028 qualify for that one-time $1,000 deposit directly from the federal government. But the critical piece that a lot of families are missing is it's not automatic. The way you do it is simple. You got to download that Trump Accounts app on the Apple Store or Google Play, or you can go to trumpaccounts.gov. You can also elect, when you file your federal tax return, using an IRS form called 4547. And any of those three paths will get you to be able to get that $1,000 deposit. And again, this is one of the most important actions any family can take if you have that child that's born from 25 to 28 window. Don't assume it's going to happen on its own. You must choose it, and you want to do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, don't assume, be proactive. That's good advice, Ashton, because for all parts of our financial life, but especially here, I mean, again, kind of like a 401k match, as we've talked about previously, that $1,000, that's free money for your child. That will go into account and grow over time with compounding interest. That's fantastic. So you want to take advantage of that, right?
Yeah, that's a great perspective. And let's look at what that $1,000 long-term context looks like. Like you said, that compounding math is worth understanding. At a hypothetical 6% average annual return, which is a pretty conservative return for a growth portfolio there. These are projections and not guarantees. That $1,000 alone with zero additional contributions, if you just said, hey, I want that free $1,000, could grow to roughly $2,900 by the time that child turns 18.
So more than double.
Yeah, more than double, almost triple there. And then if you keep that invested until age 40, and you're looking at approximately $10,300, and by 59 and a half, that single $1,000 seed deposit could be worth around $32,000. And so that's the power of starting early, even with a modest amount. And I think that's kind of the goal of this program too, is to help people see what compounding interest can do.
Yep.
It's also worth knowing that pilot contribution doesn't count against your annual $5,000 contribution limit. It's excluded from the child's income, and so it doesn't increase their tax basis. It's generally free money, but only if you go get it.
Yeah, it is genuinely free.
Yeah.
But right, you have to go out and fill out that form and download the app. And that's just the baseline. That's if you never put anything in on your own and you have a child born in that window. But any child who's, if you open it before their 17th birthday, can be eligible to have one of these accounts. But if they're born between 25 and 28, and families start adding contributions on top of that, what can happen?
Yeah, the numbers can change dramatically. You know, that annual contribution limit is $5,000, indexed for inflation after the year 2027. So these are after-tax contributions, so they don't reduce your taxable income the way a 401k contribution would or traditional IRA contribution would. But anyone can contribute on their child's behalf: parents, grandparents, other family members, even friends. Employers can actually contribute up to $2,500 per year per child of an employee. Employer contributions can count towards that $5,000 combined annual limit. So if an employer puts in $2,500, the family can add another $2,500 on top of that for the year.
Wow.
And then on the employer side, those contributions are excluded from the employee's federal taxable income, which is meaningful benefit for families whose employers do offer this.
And I know there's a category called qualified general contributions. What's that?
Yeah, so those come from charities or government entities and don't count against the $5,000 limit. That's a category where you'd see something like a private foundation contributing on behalf of a qualifying class of children. So again, if the family maxes out $5,000 per year from birth through age 17, plus claims the $1,000 pilot contribution, the account could grow to approximately $157,000 by the age 18. And that's, again, assuming a relatively conservative rate of return of 6%. By the age of 40, if you're doing both those contributions, that money could grow to $567,000. And then by the age 59 and a half, it's approaching $1.77 million.
Wow, that's real money, even to you, Ash. That's got to be
real money.
That's real money.
Again, those are projections based on a hypothetical return with no withdrawals, but it just illustrates what time and consistent contributions can do when you start at birth. You know, a couple of contribution details worth noting are that the annual deadline is December 31st, not April 15th, the way IRA accounts are. There's no extended window, and contributions stop permanently on December 31st of the year the child or the year before a child turns 18. So, one heads up for anybody contributing to the Trump accounts, like parents, grandparents, and family members. There's an open question right now about how contributions interact with those gift tax rules. And depending on how that gets resolved, a Form 709 filing could potentially come into play. IRS guidelines on this are still evolving. So it's a good reason to stay in the loop with a financial professional, financial advisor before you start writing checks. The workaround is to gift the money to an actual custodial account first, then transfer to the Trump account. And that's a detail worth discussing with a tax professional before you write any checks.
Oh, yeah. And before we get into the age 18 decisions and what happens at age 18 and what you can do with it, let's talk about how our listeners can get a hold of you, Ashton, because listeners, what Ashton is offering is a no charge, no obligation consultation. Ashton, you love hearing from our listeners. You've had people come in off the street saying, hey, I listened to your show.
For sure. Yeah. The best way to get a hold of us, of course, is to give us a call at our office, 952-873-2703. Again, that number is 952-873-2703. As you mentioned, Tony, you can just swing into our office as well. We've got a downtown Belle Plaine and downtown Gaylord locations. Visit us online at pankoninfinancial.com. That's PANKONIN financial.com. We'd love to schedule a complimentary consultations. And then here's what matters in context of today's show. Trump accounts are new. The rules have a real nuance, and decisions family makes in the early years, like how to contribute, what strategy to pursue at age 18, how that fits alongside 529s and other savings, can have a significant long-term impact. And that's exactly the kind of conversation we can help you with.
Yeah, it's so important. And it's your children's future and financial future we're talking about today. So, but let's talk about the age 18 moment when your child turns 18 and has one of these accounts, because I think that's where the real planning decisions live here, right? Yeah,
it is really a pivotal moment. At age 18, the accounts transition fully to the child. The investment restrictions lift, and they can now invest in whatever they choose, not just broad index funds. And they have several options for what to do with the account itself. They can keep it as a Trump account, treating it like a traditional IRA going forward. They can roll it into a traditional IRA. They can actually convert it to a Roth IRA, or they can withdraw the funds subject to applicable taxes, and then in some cases, penalties. On the qualified distribution side, Kiplinger notes that withdrawals can be used for higher education expenses and first-time home purchases up to $10,000. There's also provisions for specific situations like natural disaster related costs and expenses around the birth or adoption of a child, for example. Non-qualified withdrawals before 59 and a half are subject to that 10% early withdrawal penalty, similar to how a traditional IRA works. So the account does have some flexibility at distribution end, but it rewards patience.
So the actual Trump account, if you just leave it at 18, you can no longer contribute to it. But you mentioned conversions, and especially Roth conversions. I heard you mention that earlier. Walk us through that, because I think that's going to be the piece that most advisors are going to talk about, and people want to understand that, right?
Yeah, and again, it's a strategy generating the most discussion among financial advisors, and with good reason. Here's how it works, Tony. At age 18, the child can convert the entire Trump account balance into a Roth IRA. The conversion is a taxable event, and ordinary income taxes on the amount converted. But if the parents cover the tax bill out of pocket, the entire account balance moves into a Roth and then compounds tax-free for the rest of the child's life. No taxes on future growth, no taxes on qualified withdrawals in retirement. But let's kind of put some numbers behind that. A max funded account with the pilot contribution could be worth approximately $157,000 at age 18. And if that gets converted to a Roth IRA at age 18 and continues growing at that hypothetical 6% return, it could approach that 1.77 million by 59 and a half, and potentially all that will be tax-free. And so it's real generational wealth building opportunity that simply didn't exist before this legislation.
Yeah. And I'm guessing there's a lot of nuance here with the timing.
Yeah, there is, Tony. If the child is still subject to kiddie tax rules at the time of conversion, which means their unearned income above a certain threshold gets taxed at a parent's tax rate rather than the child's, converting too early could really result in a larger tax bill than expected. So general guidance is to time the conversion after the child has established financial independence and is being taxed at their own rate. For many 18-year-olds, that rate will be low, which is actually another argument for converting sooner than later. Pay those taxes at a lower tax rate.
Yeah, but wait until your child's turned 18.
Yeah.
And, contribute into the Trump account until then, and then convert it to a Roth. The tax bill on that is going to be much lower because your child's 18 and probably has hardly any taxes, especially with the standard deduction.
Yeah, and it's a lot like our retirement planning. Once we turn on that income phase, it's a whole, turn 65 kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a calculation that will depend on individual circumstances. And that's exactly kind of thing that we can help you out with, model before you actually pull the trigger on it. Maybe it makes sense to do it over 3 years instead of 1 year to do that conversion. One more item to flag. For a child who with a qualified disability, the Trump account can be rolled into a 529A ABLE account. But that rollover window is limited to the year the child turns 17. It's a one-time opportunity, and families in that situation need to have it on the radar well in advance.
Yeah, agreed. So let's zoom out. How does a Trump account fit alongside savings vehicles families are already using or thinking about using, like 529s and...
Yeah, the consistent guidance from many advisors is that Trump accounts are an additive, not a replacement for these existing vehicles. Each tool has a different job, and understanding those differences can help clarify where Trump account fits. A 529 plan is a purpose-built for education. Contributions grow tax-free when used for qualified education expenses. And many states offer a deduction for contributions into those 529 plans or credit, depending on your income limits. And it is a strong vehicle if education funding is the primary goal. UTMA or UGMA custodial accounts offer the most flexibility with no contribution limits, no restrictions on what the money is used for, but earnings are going to be taxed annually. And there's no tax deferral. A Trump account wins on the tax treatment side compared to the UTMA. And then we look at a child-owned Roth IRA as another comparison point. It offers tax-free growth and tax-free qualified withdrawals, the same as the converted Trump account. But the Roth IRA does require the child to have earned income. So, if your 10-year-old doesn't have a job, not getting W-2 income, they can't contribute to that Roth IRA, where a Trump account has no earned income requirement. And so, again, that's what makes it more accessible from day one from birth.
Okay. So in practice then, what's the framework? What can people do?
Yeah, cover the college savings needs with a 529, address some near-term flexibility with a UPMA if needed, and then layer in the Trump accounts as the long game, generational wealth vehicle. And for clients who have those other bases covered, a Trump account becomes that natural next conversation. But do be aware if you live in California, Hawaii, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, and Wisconsin, they plan to tax the Trump account earnings at the state level. So there's details are evolving on that. So just check with your tax professional if you reside in one of those states. The federal tax benefit still applies in those states, but the full net return picture looks different. And so again, it may be worth running those numbers with your financial advisor.
Yeah. And that's my last question for you is where do you fit in to all of this, Ashton? Where does a financial services professional fit in?
Yeah, so the opening account itself is accessible. A parent can go again to the trumpaccounts.gov or download the app or file the form 4547 and get the account established. What they can't do on their own is everything that comes after that. Modeling a Roth conversion timing, navigating the kiddie tax rules and figuring out the optimal conversion window for their child's specific situation, or integrating the Trump accounts into their client's overall financial plan alongside their 529, their UPMAs, and their own retirement accounts. Thinking through the potential gift tax implications for contributions, flagging those state level tax picture for clients that live in those 7 states. And none of that happens at BNY or Robinhood. Yeah. So you don't get that advice there.
Sure.
And so there's a age 18 handoff itself, which is really a planning event as much as an account transition. An 18-year-old suddenly is in full control of what could be a 6-figure account, needs guidance on their options.
Yeah, they do. That's an understatement. They need guidance. All right.
Yeah. And do they convert to a Roth? Do they roll to a traditional IRA? Do they take a distribution for a qualified expense? What are those tax consequences of each path? What does the right move look like given their income, their plans, and their long-term goals? And so it's really not a decision a teenager should be making on their own in isolation.
Right. And so I think, again, Trump accounts are an additive to existing savings vehicles, like you said, like 529s. And this is great. We got to wrap it up, though. We're out of time for today.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about how our listeners can get a hold of you to talk more about this or if they have questions?
Yeah. So again, if any of today's conversation is raising questions about your own family situation or your client situations, we'd love to walk through it with you. Best way to do it is to give us a call, 952-873-2703. Again, that number is 952-873-2703, or visit us online at pankinonfinancial.com. That's PANKONIN financial.com to schedule a complimentary consultation.
All right. Well, thanks, Ashton. Listeners, that does it for today's episode of the Pankinnon Financial Perspective with our host, Ashton Pankinnon.
Thank you for joining us for Pankinnon Financial Perspective. Don't head into retirement without a plan for both your finances and your health. For more information, contact Ashton Pankinnon at Pankinnon Financial Group at 952-873-2703 or visit pankinnonfinancialgroup.com. Join us again soon for another episode of Pankinnon Financial Perspective. Advisory services are offered by Ashton Pankinnon LLC DBA Pankinnon Financial Group, an investment advisor in the state of Minnesota.
All matters discussed during the show are for informational purposes only. Each individual situation may vary, and the opinions expressed here may not apply to everyone. Materials presented are believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations can be made as to its accuracy. All ideas and information should be discussed in detail with one of our qualified representatives prior to implementation. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by the Social Security Administration, the Federal Medicare Program, or any other government agency. Calling this number will direct you to a licensed sales agent.